welcome to Distance Learning Day 1, and I miss you guys already. Talking to my computer, I don't like it. This is take like 28. I don't want to do this anymore. Please stay safe so we can come back. So, we are working on percent increase and decrease with equations. Please don't freak out because I said equations. You know this. You can figure this out. I promise. We will do this together and it will not be that hard. So, our warm-up. We're figuring out what we can multiply or divide by to go from one number to the next. The first one is 100 to 106, then 100 to 90, 90 to 100, and then 106 to 100. So, take 5 minutes, use your calculators, go ahead and pause this video, and see if you can figure this out. Okay, welcome back. So, our first one from 100 to 106. We've practiced this before. To figure out what we multiply by, we're actually going to divide. So for the first one, I'm going to do 106 divided by 100. Use your calculators, double check my answer. When you divide 106 divided by 100, I'm going to get 1.06. What this means is I can multiply by 1.06. I can take 100 times 1.06 and I should get 106. Go ahead and double check my answer. Let me know if I'm incorrect. The next problem, 100 to 90. Well, we can do this same process of dividing to figure that out too. So 90 divided by 100. Use calculators. Try and figure it out before me. That is going to give me 9/10. What that means, I should be able to multiply by 9/10. That's my answer, sorry. I should be able to multiply by 9/10, 100 times 9/10. That should give me 90. Go ahead, double check my work. Let me know if I'm incorrect. Okay, before we move on to the last two, let's notice something about this. So our next problem is from 90 to 100. Well, the last problem we just did was from 100 to 90. So these are actually opposites. Or I'm trying to undo what we already did. So we went from 100 to 90 and now we're at 90 and I want to go backwards. And we all know that to undo multiplying, I'm going to divide. So I don't even have to try. This is dividing by 0.9. I don't have to think harder than that. So let's look at the last one. From 106 to 100, well, that's the opposite of the first one. We went from 100 to 106. Now I want to go from 106 backwards to 100. To do that, I'm going to actually divide by what we said to multiply by. So I'm going to divide by 1.06. Awesome. If you have any questions about the warm-up, email me or join the Google Meet. Let me know. Okay. Let's move on to our tasks for the day. So, we're going to talk about interest and depreciation. These are actually opposites. So, interest, you're going to probably hear this word in banking or loans. You probably don't really know anything about loans. But when you put money into a savings account, it's going to have interest to it. You're going to earn money for having your money in a savings account. So, we actually are talking about that here. Now, depreciation, that's actually the opposite, and you're going to lose money. Yes, there's a lot of things where you lose money on, and we'll talk about that in the next problem. So, money in a particular savings account increases by about 6% after a year. That's actually kind of high for a savings account. How much money will be in the account after 1 year if the initial amount is $100? $50, $200, $125, X amount of dollars. Well, when we know that it increases by 6%, if you're increasing by 6%, that means we're taking our whole amount and then adding 6% of that. To find 6%, I would multiply my initial amount by 6%. Or, there it is. Or if I'm increasing by 6%, I'm trying to find 106% of my initial amount. Okay, I'm trying to find 106%. Remember, to turn from a percent to a decimal, you divide by 100. So if I divided that by 100, I have 1.06. So, what this means, if I take my initial amount, I'm trying to find 106% of it, I'm just going to multiply it by 106%, or 1.06. So our first one, 100 times 1.06. Oh, this looks very familiar from our warm-up. So 100 times 1.06 is our $106. Now that we did the first one together, I want you to try out the rest of the table yourself. Take about 5 minutes. All right, welcome back. So we now have $50 for our initial amount. I'm going to do the exact same thing. When I multiply 50 times 1.06, I'm actually going to get 53. Now I'm going to do the same for 200 and 125. If I multiply 200 times 1.06, I'm going to get 212. If I multiply $125 times 1.06, I'm going to get $132.50. Okay, double check my work, please. So, if I have X amount of dollars, some amount of dollars that we don't know, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply it by 1.06. Remember, I didn't add a multiplication sign in between these. Since I pushed them up next to each other, that means that we're multiplying. That's all that means. Okay. So, let me know if you have any questions about this. I will wait a second for you to write this all down. Now we're going to talk about depreciation. So cars, the second you drive them off the lot, depreciate in value. What that means is if you buy a $10,000 car, the second you drop it off the lot, it's going to drop in value. It's no longer worth $10,000. Crazy, I know. It sucks. So, the value of a new car decreases by about 15% in the first year. That is a lot. How much will a car be worth after 1 year if its initial value was $1,000, $5,000, $5,020, and X amount of dollars? Those are really, really, really cheap cars, by the way. So, if you get stuck, try creating a table. I'm actually going to create a table for this after you try it yourself. But let's talk about it a little bit more. So I'm decreasing by 15%. That means I'm taking my initial value, whatever it is, and subtracting 15% of it. Our initial value is 100%, so 15% minus 100, 100% minus 15% is going to give me 85%. 85% as a decimal, I'm going to take 85 and divide it by 100, and I'm going to get 0.85. Beautiful. So, this is very similar to this problem, except we have a new percent that we're trying to find. Go ahead, create a table, or just figure out your answers and type them in. 5 minutes. Okay. Welcome back. I'm going to keep moving on. So, I really like tables. Tables are my jam. So, we know our initial amount. We know the initial or the starting price of the car. Then, we know the price, we're trying to find the price after 1 year. So those are the two things we were talking about in this situation. The initial and then the amount after a year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enter all my data in. So 1,000, 5,000, 5,020, and X. Okay. So, just like last problem. Okay. Just like the last problem, we are multiplying our percent by the initial. There we go. We're multiplying our initial amount by that percent that we found. So, our initial amount for the first one is 1,000. So, I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply. Let me go ahead and use a different color so it stands out more. Let's use purple. Okay, 1,000 times our percent, because I want to find 85% of the initial amount. So when I multiply these out, I am going to get $850. Double check my work. I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the exact same thing to all of them. So 5,000 times 85%. That is going to give me 4,250. Okay. And 5,020. That is going to give me 4,267. Okay. For the last one, X, well, we took all our initial values and multiplied them by our percentage, 85%, or the decimal 0.85. We're going to do the exact same thing to X. So, 0.85 times X. Sorry. All right. Let me know if you have any questions about this. I know it's really difficult. Let me know if you need any help finding percents of a number. Okay. Now we're on to matching equations. I have a list of equations right here. You're going to use each equation only once, and you're going to match it with one of the situations. Our first situation. The water level in a reservoir is now 52 meters. So now it what is? If this was a 23% increase, so we're going up by 23%, what was the initial depth? So from the original, increased it by 23%, now we have 52 meters. One of these equations is going to represent this situation. The snow is now 52 inches deep. So again, it's now 52 inches. It was a 77% decrease. Oh, if this was a 77% decrease, what was the initial depth? Lordy, that's a lot of snow. The amount of gas in an airplane is now 52 gallons. If this was a 23% decrease, what was the initial amount of gas in the airplane? Fun fact about airplanes, you only have enough gas in the airplane to go from point A to point B. They don't put any more gas in it than that. I know. Next, the last situation. The amount of wins Miss Grant has in Among Us is now 52 games. If this was a 77% increase, what was the... Oh, that says initial depth. That should say the initial amount of games. Okay, so one of these 4 equations is going to match every single one. You're only going to use an equation once. Take 5 minutes and see if you can figure this out. Welcome back. This is getting weird. Please come back. Oh my gosh. Okay, so obviously these all are equaling 52 because our new quantity for all of these, it's all a new quantity, is 52. So this is a 23% increase. So it means we took our 100%, whatever it is, and increased it by 23%. If I'm increasing, that means I'm adding. So 100 plus 23 is going to give us 123%. So 123% is going to be the same as 1.23. So I'm trying to find 1.23 of our initial depth. If I'm trying to find percent of something, I just multiply. So I'm going to take 1.23 and multiply it by the original depth, whatever that is. That's now x for us, and it should equal our 52. Well, that's right here. That is 1.23 times x equals 52. So we already have one knocked out. The next one. The snow is now 52 inches. This was a 77% decrease, and I want to know what the initial depth was. So if this is a decrease, I'm actually going to take 100 minus 77, and that's going to be the percent that I'm trying to find. So 100 minus 77 is actually 23%. 23% as a decimal is 0.23. So that means I'm taking 23% of the initial depth and getting 52. So 23 times the initial amount equals 52. Okay. Problem 3. The amount of gas in an airplane is now 52 gallons. If this was a 23% decrease, what was the initial amount of gas in the airplane? So this is a 23% decrease. So just like here, I'm going to subtract 100 minus now our 23%. When I subtract those, I actually get 77%. Ooh, different color. Let's do blue. So this is going to give me 77%, which is 0.77. So I want to know 77% of the initial amount of gas in the airplane. So 0.77 x should equal 52. Very last problem. Let's do green. Now, well, let me mark off the one that we used. Okay. So now, can you please stop? Now, I have 52 games, 52 wins in Among Us. And this was a 77% increase from the initial amount of games won. So if I'm increasing, that means I'm taking my 100% and adding 77%, giving me 177%, which is going to be 1.77 as a decimal. Well, we don't have to think much further. We only have one left, but let's keep thinking through it. So I would take, to find 177%, I would take 1.77 and multiply it by the initial amount, which we're trying to find. We don't know what that is. That's x for us. And this is going to equal 52. All right. Perfect. Okay. This was tricky, I know. But you didn't have to really create them yourself. You just had to pick from below. Remember, increase, you're going to add. Decrease, you're going to subtract. To find a percent of a number, you're always going to multiply that percent you're trying to find times the initial amount, or whatever amount you have. Okay? Okay, we talked about this yesterday when we were actually together. So the gas tank in Dad's car holds 12 gallons. The gas tank in Mom's truck holds 50% more. 50% more means we're increasing by 50%. How much gas does the truck's tank hold? Well, we solved this yesterday. We know that 100% is going to be our 12, 50% would be 6, and 150% would be 18. Well, it asks us why do we know this situation can be represented by the equation 1.5 times 12 equals t. Make sure that you explain what t represents. Go ahead, see if you can figure this out. Take another 5 minutes. Okay, welcome back again. So, I know that this fits because I'm trying to find 150% of how much the car holds. I'm trying to find 150% because the truck holds 50% more, means we're increasing by 50%, which means we have to take 100% plus 50% to get what percent we're trying to find. So we're trying to find 150%, which, let me rewrite this. So 50% more means we're taking 100%, adding 50%, getting 150%. Now, obviously, there's no percents in this problem, so 150% as a decimal, 150 divided by 100 is going to be 1.5. So that's how they got the 1.5. Just like all the other problems, we are taking the percent we're trying to find and multiplying it by the initial amount that we have. Our initial amount this time is 12. So we would do 1.5 times 12, and this should equal the amount of gas the truck holds, or T. Alright, let's do the last one. Okay, we're writing equations for all of these situations. We actually looked at all of these situations yesterday, and we solved them yesterday. So you don't have to solve them. We're just writing equations. So, a movie theater decreased. So when you think of the word decrease, we need to subtract our percents. So we decrease the size of the popcorn bag by 20%. So this would be 100% minus 20%, giving me 80%. This as a decimal is 0.8. So I'm trying to find 0.8 times the amount of initial amount of popcorn to get the new amount of popcorn. So our initial amount, the old bags, is 15 cups of popcorn. So I take our percent times 15, and that should give me the amount of popcorn, or I'm using the variable P. You can use whatever variable you want now. And that should give me the amount of popcorn in the new bag. So I'm actually going to say what my variable is. P is popcorn in cups. We're talking about cups of popcorn. Okay? B, after a 25% discount. So it's going to be 25% off. So since I'm taking away 25%, I'm going to have to subtract again. So So this is going to be 100% minus 25%, giving us 75%, or 0.75. Okay. After the discount. This is after it happened. This is not our initial amount. The price of a t-shirt was $12. What was the price before the discount? Before the discount is our initial price. So I would take my percent, 0.75. Multiply it by the initial price. I'm going to use P again as my price. When I take 75% of my initial price, I should get $12. So that would be our equation. P being our price. Very last problem. Compared to last year, the population of Boomtown has increased. They have increased now, so we're going to be adding. They have increased by 25%. So 100% plus 25% is 125%, or 1.25 as a decimal. Okay, so we found our percent that we're trying to find. The population now, after this 25% increase, is 6,600. What was the population last year, or what was the initial population? Well, I don't know my initial population, so we're going to take 1.25 times the initial population, whatever that is, and that should give us 6,600, where P is the initial population. Okay. Make sure you have this. Okay. Lesson synthesis. Throughout these past few days, we have solved problems like this 3 ways. We have used double number lines, okay? That's what we used yesterday. We filled out all those double number lines and found our answers that way. Another thing we have been using, like in the first task, is tables. Tables are lovely. And now we're getting into equations. Which representation do you prefer to use, and why? This is whatever your preference is. I really like tables and equations. That's me. I know I don't think anybody is really going to actually ask for equations, because that's what we missed last year during the quarantine. And some of you actually really liked the double number lines from yesterday. You rocked at those. Those were your jam. So maybe you enjoy double number lines more. I like double number lines, but that's a lot for me to draw. So that's why I kind of dislike them. I like tables because we are all really good at tables. We practiced them so much last year and so much this year that you guys rock at them. So that's what I like. Whatever you like, you can write down here. Okay, you guys have a Go Formative, that should say 4.8. So, complete the 4.8 Go Formative, and I will grade it, let you know. Remember, this is the most important part of the day. This is everything I'm grading. This is letting me know that you are completing everything. Awesome. I miss you guys. I don't like making these videos. It's stressful. Please, 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 please stay safe so we can come back. I miss you all, and I cannot wait to see you again. Bye.